Today's Friday, September 27th, and you are listening to episode number 9 of the Doghouse podcast.
From DoghouseSystems.com, this is the Doghouse podcast.
All right, we'd like to welcome everybody back. Again, this is episode number 9 of the Doghouse podcast, and once again, I've got Abby and Lorenzo joining me.
Hi.
Hello.
What up?
How are you doing, Abby?
Doing good. I got a joke for y'all.
Okay.
How do birds order their sandwiches?
I don't know. How do they?
I'll let you know at the end of the podcast.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Well, today is going to be I think it's going to be a fun podcast, and we've got a few things that we'll be covering in Bark Bits. We are going to be talking about Grandma Shirley Curry, and she's done some awesome things through the years with Skyrim, so we're going to be spending a little bit of time talking about that. And in our Tech Treats segment, we are going to be going over some new games that are out, maybe some existing ones, as well as the epic free game of the week. And in our Pack Talk segment, we actually have a voicemail from one of our customers about sound cards that we will be discussing. So with that, let's go ahead and get right into the first segment, Bark Bits.
Okay. So if you didn't know, Skyrim Grandma is 88-year-old Shirley Curry. And over 9 years, she's built up 1 million followers on YouTube playing Skyrim and sharing her life. She actually started gaming when her son introduced her to Civ 2 in 1996, but began vlogging in 2011 when Skyrim came out. And in 2022, she reached her millionth subscriber, which earned her the YouTube Gold Play button
for
so her
cool.
account. Sadly, 4 days ago, she posted a vlog titled No More Gaming Videos, in which she tells her 1.3 million subscribers, who are affectionately known as her grandchildren, that she will no longer be playing Skyrim, but she would pop up here and there with a video and updates on her life. She posted a video yesterday morning, letting her followers know that, as I said before, she'll be back periodically, letting her grandchildren know, what's going on in her life, what she's doing. And she's just not going to make Skyrim content as she recovers from her eye surgery.
Yeah, and she's going to be in our thoughts and prayers for a speedy recovery. It sounds like she is on the mend. And
her video, I loved her. She came on yesterday, and I watched her video. It was so cute, and she had a clear eye mask.
Yeah, to protect her eye.
And everyone was loving it. They're like, Pirate Grandma.
She has got such a huge following and just everything she does, it just feels like it's just positive vibes all the time.
From some of her videos, I haven't seen a negative comment.
How could you?
I know.
She's awesome. So anyways, we do hope and pray for a very speedy recovery for her.
Did you guys know that her followers petitioned her to have a character in Skyrim?
Yes, actually, we did know that. And you probably don't know this, and most of our listeners wouldn't either, but back around that same time, Lorenzo and I had talked about rebooting our podcast, and we reached out to her, congratulating her on having that achievement, or that being announced. And we had talked to her about coming on one of our early podcasts. I guess that was around 2018, 2019. And she said at some point she might be interested in doing that. So who knows? Maybe we'll get her on just as a guest later on and be able to talk about things that she's got going on. But regardless of all that, we're just so happy for her. And she's been, or she had been gaming on a Doghouse system for quite a number of years. And she's been such a wonderful person to get to know over time. In fact, back in 2020, I wish I could have gotten out there to PAX East in Boston, but Spencer was working with us, helping us out with our social media and doing a bunch of game videos himself. And he had the opportunity to get to meet her at PAX. And in fact, in our show notes, we'll have a picture of the two of them that Spencer really enjoyed having the opportunity to meet up with her. Okay, I think we are ready to head into the next segment, Tech Treats. And Abby, I believe you've got a few games that you'd like to go over.
I do. Okay, the casual game of the week, we have Tiny Glade. It is a small diorama builder where you can doodle whimsical castles, cozy cottages, and romantic ruins. Explore gridless building chemistry as the game adorns your glades with procedural detail. No management, no combat or goals. Just kick back and turn forgotten meadows into lovable dioramas. It's on sale now for $12.47 on Steam until October 3rd, but it is usually $14.99.
Cool.
The fantasy game of the week is Final Fantasy 16, and please pardon me if I pronounce anything wrong in this description. Final Fantasy 16 is an epic dark fantasy where fates are decided by mighty icons?
Yes.
And the dominants who wield them. This is the tale of Clive Rosfield, a tragic warrior who swears revenge on the dark icon. Or
econ.
Whichever one. Please feel free to let me know. Oh God.
Ifrit.
Ifrit, I think.
I think it's Ifrit. He's been
Ifrit or
It's
Ifrit.
been a part of the Final Fantasy series for a long time.
A mysterious entity that leaves naught but calamity in its wake. It is $49.99 on Steam, but there is a free demo available. Again, please pardon all of my pronunciations in that description. And then the Konami Sale is happening on Steam. There are a bunch of great titles and collections on sale. We're going to highlight the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga collection. It assembles 13 classic TMNT games in one incredible package. This collection provides a unique opportunity for gamers to experience these immensely popular and influential games on Steam and includes a fantastic set of new quality of life features. It's $15.99 on Steam.
That's a pretty good price, a little over $1 a game. Did you ever play any of those back in the day?
Yes.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm thinking back.
I'm trying to remember the titles for these games,
I
but
never played the games, but I watched the shows.
I mean, this dates it way back. I think this would be back on just on the Nintendo system.
I think NES.
Yeah, the original
Super Nintendo. NES.
Not even the
Yeah.
Super Nintendo one. My wife's brother Rich, he was maybe 12 or 13. He played that thing like crazy. He was really good at it.
Interesting.
It was just called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Yeah.
on the on the NES.
NES.
Yeah.
Yep. So he played the original.
Yeah, and then if you had gone to the arcade around the same time, it would have been Turtles in Time. That's the one I remember playing in the arcade.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then the epic free game of the week. Please pardon my French pronunciation. I took Spanish in high school.
Quite literally.
So the epic free game is The Spirit and the Mouse. Bring kindness and light to the people of Saint-Clair as Lila, a tiny mouse with a big heart. Explore a quaint French village, make electrifying new friends, and do good deeds for those in need in this lush narrative adventure game. It's normally $19.99, but it's free through October 3rd.
That's it looks from the screenshots and some of the video I've seen, it looks pretty good. Might be a fun one to check out. We'll also put a link to that YouTube channel should you play it. They did a review on that about 4 days ago, and we'll put a link to that so you guys might want to check it out to make a decision of getting it or not. And before we get to the Pack Talk voicemail, A Squirrel with a Gun. Is that the name of it?
Yes.
Squirrel with a Gun. So we have that game now.
Woohoo!
Yes. So Lorenzo helped us get a Steam family account set up so that folks here at Doghouse could have an opportunity to play. And I really liked what Lorenzo was talking about because I had not set up a Steam family account in the past. How long has that feature been out now?
It's been out in beta for a couple months. I think it just now exited beta a couple weeks ago.
Okay. And in a nutshell, you could have up to 6 family members or friends set up on an account. And the beauty of this is, you do one purchase of the game, but now the friends or family can have access to the games and they can save their own version of that game so it wouldn't actually overwrite as each person tried to play it.
Yeah, so in terms of save files, installs, and account management, it's as if each person in that family owns every game. And each person that owns that game is one entitlement to the game. So X number of people can play per number of entitlements across all members. So if 3 people own the game, 3 people from that group of 5 or however many can play at a time.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. So we are going to have some fun with that. Abby she's not necessarily a professional gamer.
I'm not.
But she is going to have an opportunity to play that, and we'll get some footage of her doing that.
It'll just be chaos, I promise.
I think she's going to have a lot of fun with it. So we've got a game controller that we'll link up to it and give her a shot at playing it. So we'll have in the near future some footage to be able to throw out on social media. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into the final segment, Pack Talk. And this week we have a voicemail from an existing Doghouse customer. He was in the process of getting ready to buy a new system, and he had a question about sound cards. So we'll go ahead and play that now.
Good morning, Doghouse Systems. I'm currently getting my 4th computer built by you guys, and one of the questions I had was sound cards. Sound Blaster has the market on this, and away from what is built on the motherboard, why should someone go with like a Sound Blaster or Sound Oddity, these other sound cards? That's my question. Have a great day, guys.
Okay, great question about sound cards. Generally, at least for the systems that we put together here, I would say you don't really need to purchase the sound card unless you need multiple channels to be output. Like if you're connecting directly to a sound system, most of those nowadays will have a controller box either through USB or that connects to your system another way. So they'll be able to handle all of that mixing and splitting out channels on their own. Another reason you need a sound card is if you're recording or if you need multiple channels for recording something. Some of them will allow you to change some of those outputs to inputs, so you can have multiple microphones coming into your system. But again, most devices now are USB based. I'm looking at the recorder we have here that'll just let us record directly to SD card as well. So yeah, short answer, you don't need one. Long answer is if you really need a sound card, you will know you need a sound card.
It's a good question because for guys and gals that have bought PCs through the years, at one point in time, they started to put audio, integrated into the motherboard, and it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't as good as getting an original Sound Blaster. I remember a flight simulator I was using back in the day, and this is probably about 10, 15 years ago, but it sounded completely different from the onboard audio. And when I couldn't believe it, I was like, man, this is kind of messed up. So I ended up going back to an original Sound Blaster. Everything sounded just fine. But those days, I mean, again, that was over a decade ago. So things have gotten much better over time. It reminded me of the original Sound Blaster that I did get. I got the very first one back in the day. I had a 386 SX16. So many, many years ago. But I remember when I got that first Sound Blaster, it brought back memories because I was taking a look at some screenshots of the box, and it came with Lemmings and Indianapolis 500. And that Indy 500 was a really cool thing because that the developer of that game kept on making games through the years, and that same person happened to be the father of iRacing, which iRacing is awesome to this day. It's sanctioned by NASCAR. Many thousands of people subscribe to that. Some really good folks from that company. Great stuff. But that was kind of a blast from the past looking at the original Sound Blaster card.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think you're referring to like DOS era gaming with like Tandy or AdLib Sound or Sound Blaster Sound, and each one would support different channels and sound effects. And yeah, no, that seems cool. I like standards.
Yes, for sure.
Modern standards are great, but another thing to think about is most of your newer like wireless or Bluetooth audio peripherals are not going to use your sound card at all. They're going to have a DAC built in, and they're going to have a piece of software they install on your computer, so they're not going to use your outputs at all. They usually have a receiver or that's USB or just Bluetooth.
That's a good point. All right. Thank you so much for leaving that voicemail. And I think that pretty much just about wraps up the podcast, except for one very important thing that everybody has continued to listen for.
Yeah, the answer to my joke.
Yes.
So the question was, how do birds order their sandwiches? On whole wheat bread. I'm a sucker for a good dad joke.
That is a good dad joke.
Lorenzo's shaking his head like he's embarrassed.
I was thinking if we had like a little laugh track.
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
I was thinking of the yay,
that I'm reading dad jokes now.
That's a pretty good one.
That is a good one. And
pretty good.
I think we might have something going. Maybe you can come back next week with a new one.
I'll see what I can come up with.
I bet you'll have a bunch of them. Because where did you get this one from?
Oh no, the secrets are revealed.
I got it from the bottom of a Go-Go Squeeze pouch.
Your applesauce.
I randomly one day was like, I found them on the bottom, and now I can't stop reading.
Become the daily obsession. So we were like, okay, this is going on the podcast.
Yeah. Cher just rolls her eyes at me and shakes her head like she's really disappointed in the fact that I'm laughing at dad jokes.
It's just an act. She loves it.
I know.
Well, I think that just about wraps us up for the week. So, Abby, if you wouldn't mind letting our fine listeners know how they can reach out to us.
Yeah, you can email us at podcast@doghousesystems.com. You can leave us a voicemail at 214-810-4347, or you can get in contact with us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, X, and Threads at Doghouse Systems.
Thanks, Abby. For those of you listeners that are in the Southeast that might have been affected by Hurricane Helene, we hope that all of you were able to avoid as much damage as possible and that everybody's safe. My father and stepmother live in Gainesville, Florida, and I reached out to them this morning. They had 3 trees blow over, but fortunately, none of those hit their house. They, along with a lot of residents in Gainesville, are without power. And for that matter, over 1 million people in Florida are without power. So again, we hope the best for all of those that are dealing with this. We hope that all of y'all have a good weekend, and we will be back for episode number 10 next Friday. Y'all take care.